Welcome, astonishing agents and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, January 6th, 2022, and this is Mastermind podcast number 360. Almost said 2021 there. Still got to catch myself, but it's a brand new year, guys. It's going to be a great one, hopefully for our company, all of you guys, and for the country. You know, hopefully this stupid virus, we're seeing the end of it, and hopefully the economy's picking up. We got a lot of hope here, and we hope you guys will have a great year. And in order to do that, we are all here today. We're here for you. Don't be shy. Questions, comments, suggestions. Particularly, we're looking for wins. We usually get one or two great stories every week. We usually hear a dozen great stories every week, and we're lucky if one or two people show up on the call to share them. But please don't feel like you're bragging. I guarantee you other people on the call will benefit from it. Same thing. There's no question really that's too basic or fundamental. You know, whatever question you have, I'm sure there's a ton of other people on the call that have the same one. No one in the queue yet. Partners, anybody else want to add anything before we get started? I guess we have started, but do y'all have anything to add?
Bruce, anything from you, bud?
Well, I mean, obviously, I say this almost every week, and at least once a month. I say we're right in the middle of a really good Probate Foundations class. Today is the dialogue building day. If you have not signed up and haven't been into Probate Foundations yet, call the sales line and see if you can get in today. I'm certainly willing to let anyone in for this half of the Probate Foundations class. If you can't make today and you want to do it next month, jump on in. Make sure that you guys register. And then I did send an email out to our entire audience base, kind of announcing this month's classes. So in 2 weeks, we're doing a role play call on Wednesday, and then the week after that, we're doing a listing class for those of you who are agents. If you're an agent and you either want to brush up on or improve your skills when you get inside of the listing appointment, you might want to check that class out. If you've never taken a listing and you're just unconfident, you definitely want to check that class out. So the biggest thing with that class, and the reason that I'm doing it, is because for many, many years, I've listed more than 50 houses a year, and in some years, well over 100 houses in a year. And I've kind of seen everything that trips most agents up. I've had those things trip me up, and I decided that this month's class, starting the new year out, would be really good to kind of teach you guys, those that need it, exactly what to say in an appointment to influence the prospect that you're talking to sign that listing with you. So that's what I'm teaching in a couple of weeks. Be on the lookout for that. If you didn't see the email, call the sales line. I'll make sure that everyone has the links for those classes.
And Bruce, we try to be careful not to make this all about promotion or anything, certainly not for our company, but I just have to add something to what you said. This is a program that Bruce has spent, like he said, his experience not only as a very productive agent, but as a coach. He has spent literally years putting this program together, and his intention was to sell it and have a, piece by piece or as a whole. And, after he came on board with us, we've kind of persuaded him. It didn't take a lot of persuading. He really offered to kind of give it all away for free, and it is for our subscribers. Is that correct, Bruce, the additional classes, or is it for everyone?
Well, there are classes that are only available for subscribers. The ones that I just spoke about, the role play class, if you've been through Foundations before, you can come to that, regardless of whether you're a subscriber or not. And the listing class is for everyone. There will be a few classes that we teach that you have to be an ATL subscriber to access, but this listing class is for anyone that wants to.
Yeah, I just wanted to drive home. It's incredible value, and it's something you would pay thousands of dollars for elsewhere. And so in along with our theme of being more than just a probate lead company, what Bruce teaches is really applicable to all aspects of your business. Time management, making your calls, staying on schedule. There's so many things that we teach and Bruce teaches in probate that, are certainly not exclusive to being applicable to probate only. So, yeah, please take advantage of that. If you're not, you're really missing out on an incredible value of being here. Chuck, what would you like to add, sir? I know that we have other stuff that you could add,
Yes, I know. I think I keep coming back to the mindset. I do a lot of the orientation calls, and we're talking with folks that are just getting into, they're waiting for their first list, and they're really looking forward to reaching out to prospects and looking for, okay, what's the secret? And we say this time and time again, there's a couple approaches when you're making calls to just get straight to the point and get to the real estate question and basically turn and burn and get to those people that are willing to have that real estate conversation. And I think when we're calling personal representatives, it's very important for us to have that helping, leading with the helping hand mindset and being able to help folks and really maybe taking a softer approach when we have the conversations. And the mindset really, it's so important from a standpoint as we're dealing together with all the lead staff, et cetera. We've got a really great program here at All the Leads, and there are people that are doing deals and very successful. And those folks have the mindset of being able to help their prospects build out their teams of referral partners. So that way, even if it's not directly agent or investor related, they have resources to be able to help these folks, because definitely that's of utmost importance when someone is going through and coming into obstacles that they face during the probate process. So just wanted to check your mindset before your day's calls and make sure that you've got that smile on your face with a helping approach. Smile and dial.
Absolutely. One of my former coaches, when I was doing coaching, it was absolutely mandatory that when we prospected, we stood and we in front of a mirror, which is ridiculous. But I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but when you're standing, you got better energy, and when you're looking into the mirror, it reminds you to keep smiling. And it seems counterintuitive, but people can hear a smile in your voice. They can hear it in your attitude. So you're right. Mindset is so important, and whatever it takes for you to develop that mindset, whether it's affirmations, going out and exercising, standing, looking in the mirror, whatever it is, do it. Get a routine down that puts you in the optimum mindset to get on the phone and prospect. Tim, what would you like to share, sir?
Well, I kind of want to, I'll camp on that for a second as well. One of the things that my first job that I did for telephone sales was I sold literally advertising in this little podunk newspaper in Kentucky that a guy had put together, and he sold the history of a given county in Kentucky, and he went county to county doing it, and the sales pitch was to call, Betty's beauty salon and Joe Bob's garage and say, I want to talk to you about the story that's going to appear in the XYZ County news that'll be coming out in about a month, and want to make sure you have the details right. And that's where we began the sales process. And we'd read a little bit about it. And before each call, I had to put together just a little bit of a speech about that particular person. And they were all very generic, and he'd done a good job of putting some of that together. And I learned very quickly that I did it. I was successful doing it because I didn't know what I was doing. And some of the other people that were in, it was a boiler room kind of a deal. Some of the other people that were doing it, I looked at them while they were on the phone, and they all looked like, they'd been beaten to death, and they were unhappy. And this was back when you could smoke inside, and smoke was coming up from each of the cubicles, and it was just not a happy environment. And I was enjoying it. I had fun doing it, and I wasn't dying for the money. For me, it was just a way to make a little extra money to go party on the weekends from being in high school and later on in college. And attitude means everything. And of course, you know that in your daily life, when you've got a positive attitude about things come to you. And you remember not too long ago, there was a whole series of books and things that came out wrapped around, in quotes, The Secret. And most of that is literally the same thing that Norman Vincent Peale taught and everybody else is the power of positive thinking. You couldn't have said it better than Chuck says, being as positive as you can. And the more positive you are, the more success you're going to have. Talking to people in probate, if you approach it with trepidation, not the right thing. If you talk to them about the things that you know that you're going to help them and you've got things they need, you're a winner. And you'll get through to people that don't do it otherwise. So, yes, that's a positive thing. The main thing I wanted to just add to, kind of where we're going, talked a little bit about this before the holidays, and we have been doing a tremendous amount of repurposing within our company and changing a lot of the things that we're doing. We've been a company that's characterized by rapid growth. We've done extremely well, thanks to a lot of people on this call who've been with us for a very long time, and we've helped them make a lot of money. We're growing, and we continue to grow. But the challenge in having a company like that is to not only be appreciative of where we are and what we've accomplished, but to make sure that what we're doing is relevant going forward and staying in touch with the needs of our customers and all of that. So it's not just coming out with additional lead sources and, maybe offering you some new toys to go play with. We literally have been looking at a very holistic, what do you do every day approach to the business. And I think you're going to be very excited about what we're doing in the next quarters as we come out with programs and focus and change. And we previously had two business entities that we focused on. And we were, kind of trying to say grace over both of them, and all the leads being one of them. And the other one was the iNet USA side of our business, because it's a lot of the tech side of what we do. And now we're really focusing everything on what we're doing with all the leads for the majority of everything we're doing. And we're going to be adding a lot of features and functionality to that. So just kind of, raise the kimono a little bit and tell you what we're doing. We're really, you're our focus, and this is where our growth is going to come from. And we're excited about what we're going to do. And I know we already have one person in the queue. I'm going to add the press star 6 and 1 and hop in the queue, and we want to talk to you, and I'm done now.
Well done, Tim, and please lower your kimono. We don't want to hear about that. So first up this week is phone number ending. Boy, I love your phone number with a lot of twos, like about 6 twos in a row. You're up first, Mr. Two Man.
Hey, thanks so much.
What a great phone number, by the way.
I'm telling you, I appreciate it. I've had it for a long time. My question is kind of entry level. I haven't yet subscribed to ATL, and I was told just jump on the call, and I want to listen today. But I want to make sure I understand the program. Is the outreach geared towards the personal rep, or is it geared towards that estate attorney?
Yes. That's a good question. Yeah, and I'll jump in here first, and I'll let Bruce add on. But what we always tell people is it should be a two-phase approach. And I would say, if I had to guess, 70% of our clients just do one thing. They reach out to the executor because they're the decision maker. So you want to reach out to the executor first. They're the decision maker. You don't need the attorney's approval. The attorney is taking care of the legal aspects of the transaction, but the executor is making the real estate-related decision. So reach out to the executors first, absolutely. In the process, though, the second phase should be, after you've called all the executors and, after you've done that part of it, because that's going to get you the immediate business, take a look at your list. You can even sort it according to attorney. See who the players are in your market. We have noticed, like I'm down in Broward County, Florida, out of 300 or 400 leads a month, there's usually about 20 attorneys that are handling virtually all of them. And there's usually a few attorneys that are doing 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So if you identify who the players are, and reach out to those attorneys, the executor is only going to give you one deal. The attorney can give you just a career worth of referrals. And just a couple things you can do with the attorney. You can reach out and say, hey, I notice you specialize in probate, so do I. I'm talking to 100 people a month, and I noticed that maybe 10, 15, 20% of them don't have an attorney. They're trying to do it on their own. Would you mind if I referred those people to you? What attorney is going to say no? And then make it a quick pro quo. If I were willing to do that, I'm sure there are people that contact you first to file the probate. Would you mind referring those people back to me? Make it a win-win relationship. The other thing you want to say to the attorney is, I'm sure you get calls all the time from people with non-legal type of questions. What's my house worth? Should I fix the roof? Hey, it's in bad shape. What do I need to do to sell it? All those kind of things. Refer those to me. Let me take that non-real estate related stuff off of your plate and free you up to do what you're good at. If you're able to get through to the attorney and make that case or make that argument, it's almost hard for him to say no. So, Bruce, what would you like to add to that?
So I'm going to tell you to break your approach into 4 different phases. If you try to do all 4 of these at the exact same time on day number 1, you'll get a little overwhelmed and you won't do anything at all. The other challenge that I see with a lot of people is they don't have any sort of plan at all, and they just sit doing nothing because they don't even know the 4 phases. So phase number 1 is build your prospecting approach focused on the PR or the other heirs. And that is really kind of a 1A and 1B. So 1A is going to be pick the phone up and start calling, while 1B is build your direct mail marketing campaign. So those are equally important to one another. Never skip those calls, though. All right, so get your mail and your prospecting approach on the phone down for the PRs and the heirs that you're going to be dealing with. Number 2 is going to be get your prospecting approach for attorneys down. So once you've gotten you're reaching out to the heirs consistently, you know what you're doing, and you have a good mail campaign for them. Now you want to mix in what you're going to say and how you're going to go after attorneys. All right, so I'm going to give you a 2A, B, and C here for attorneys. 2A is going to be the phone call. 2B is going to be a pop by their office. And then 2C is going to be start going after people who can introduce you to more attorneys. Okay, so when I'm going after attorneys, aside from walking in their office or calling them, personally, I go to financial planners. The majority of probate attorneys also do estate planning. The overwhelming majority of probate attorneys, their primary role is that of an estate planner. They get their highest number of referrals for estate planning. They get those referrals from financial advisors and financial planners. So what I'll do is I'll go to all the financial planners I know. I'll discuss what I'm doing in probate, usually get them all excited because they want to help people who've inherited money. So I'll go to those financial planners and in talking to them about that, I say, hey, you know, I could really use, while I'm building my team out, I could use a connection or two with an estate planning attorney. Who do you know that you could introduce me to? So now all of a sudden, the person that is probably giving that estate planning attorney 10 to 20 estates per year is introducing you. That attorney is very likely to pick the phone up when you call because they're introduced to you by someone who they already have a great relationship with. So that's phase number 2. So phase number 1 is go after the personal representative. Phase 2 is go after the attorney. Phase 3 is build your online presence out. So after you've gotten your PR process down and your attorney process down, now go start putting your blogs together, build your website out, put a YouTube channel up with some YouTube videos. Once you have some good content out there where when someone looks you up, they see that you're truly a probate expert. Phase 4 is just going back and redoing anything that might not be working perfectly for you. And none of this is going to, there's always going to be tweaks and adjustments to be made. So once I have those first three things done, now I'm going to go back and start saying, okay, which one of my letters do I need to redo? Which one of my videos do I need to redo? What have I learned during this process that maybe I need to fix one of my pieces of content before? Things like that. All right. Super long-winded answer. Before I shut up, I'm going to go back to what Jim said. Is he said, look for the attorneys that are doing the most business. I completely agree with that. I'm also going to tell you that if you see an attorney that's only doing one probate case on your list, call them too. That attorney that doesn't have a lot of probate business, they're going to be the ones that likely are the easiest to get through to because they're probably a little bit newer in the estate planning and probate space. They most likely don't have gatekeepers. And more than likely, they don't have established relationships with realtors yet. They might not be able to hand you 2 or 3 deals a month, but they probably are ignored by your competitors. So I'm going to tell you go after some of those smaller attorneys as well. Hopefully that helps.
Does that help, sir?
That was good. I appreciate it. Even I
have
more questions. They got an answer.
No, go ahead. You said you had some more questions?
No, I said they got answered during, right? Because I was thinking of
okay.
The gatekeeper, and it's not the easiest to, get through, but I get the approach.
Yeah. And so we're going to have, once we're done, when we get off the call, we're going to have somebody reach out to you, or have you already talked to any of our account reps?
I did. I've been speaking with Jordan.
Okay, great. We'll get back with Jordan, and let's talk about getting you rolling, because it sounds like you're anxious to get this done and do it well, and we'd love to work with you. So reach out to Jordan and carry that conversation on, okay?
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right. Great way to start the call. Great question, and it really provoked a lot of very thoughtful answer from Bruce. All right. Well, we have 2 more in the queue. Next up is familiar name. Joyce, how are you? 6248. That's you, right, Joyce?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Good morning and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I have a question about Probate Plus. What is the difference between Probate Plus and Property Plus?
That's funny. It is the same thing. Tim said Property Plus on the last call, but it is actually Probate Plus. Same thing. He just called it a different name. Is that where you heard it?
I called it that because we are rebranding it as Property Plus.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Because we're adding the property side to the probate leads. That's what it's a clearer description of it. You need to come to rehearsal, Jim.
I skip rehearsal. I just improvise. So Property Plus is going to be the new improved Probate Plus.
So
not new, not improved, same thing.
Okay. The rebranded, renamed. Go ahead, Joyce.
Some months I take Probate Plus, and some months I don't take it, and I'm appreciative of the additional information that I get with Probate Plus, and it definitely tells me that some calls are not worth making because they have no properties. But I know that Bruce says that sometimes, even though they don't have a property, they may have a different setup where they have a property. So I'm wondering, is Probate Plus worth the money?
You want me to start, Bruce? I just wanted to add to a couple things you said. We've talked about not only could they have property that doesn't show up in a trust. Sometimes when people are dying, they'll deed the property over to a relative so it doesn't show up in their name anymore. But also, I can't tell you how many stories we've heard of people that accidentally called someone that didn't have property. But remember, you're still talking to somebody that was an heir. you're still talking to somebody that may have inherited significant amounts of money. We've had a lot of stories from people that say, well, there isn't any property or it's already sold, but I am looking to upgrade my house. I'd like to sell my house and buy another one. So that's a good possibility. The other thing, and Bruce, I don't know if you Bruce has a better sense of this than I, but when we started doing Probate Property Plus, we were really surprised. I don't know what the percentage is, but there was a quite significant percentage of people that owned multiple properties in different areas of the country. And I mean, we saw some. The record I remember was 13 on one that I worked on, and I listed 2 of them here in South Florida, and I was able to refer 3 or 4 of the others out. And I always think if you're going to get Probate Property Plus, take the ones.
Not Probate
take those.
Property Plus. It's Property
I
Plus.
know it. Property Plus, formerly known as Probate Plus, formerly known as Prince. But I've always thought if you're going to do it, don't ignore those out-of-area leads, because there isn't a realtor in the country. If you call and say, hey, I've spoken to someone that has property here, they also have a property in your area, if I go ahead and recommend you, would you give me a referral? I mean, you can easily get a 25% referral on those out-of-area ones, and that should more than pay for all your marketing costs. So I think that's a way to cover the costs of Property Plus. But also, to answer the first part of your question, just to reiterate, some of the people that don't have real estate in the probate still have significant value. Bruce, what would you like to add?
So I want Tim to confirm or deny this after I've made my statement. So Tim knows the ins and outs of the program a little bit better. I'm going to address it from the consumer's perspective. So as someone who gets leads and puts them through Probate Plus or the new Property Plus, here's what I noticed. I noticed that about 5% of the time, we will get an occasional false record. So it'll say that there's that there was a property there that wasn't true, because we've skip traced it. We might have found another John Smith's address. Okay. Another thing that I noticed is it's kind of a has recently had property list versus a currently has property list. So I run these leads through Probate Plus, and I'll get, let's say I put 100 leads through there. I'll get a Property Plus. I will get 75 back that have had property. So 75. 5% of those might be wrong. Another 10%, 5 or 10% of those will have had property, but if I look at the current owner, which is right there on the same page, you look at the current owner, you can tell that sometime within the last 2 years, it has been transferred, but they did own that property. So for anyone that is kind of looking at Probate Plus as a 100% accurate, Property Plus as 100% accurate, you just need to know that there is a margin of error with these. And a lot of times, if there's an error, it's not that it's an error, it's that that decedent owned property, and then a year before they passed away, maybe they transferred it. And that's about 5 to 10% of the time. It's a really small percentage of the time, but it is worth taking a look at before you order your mailing on that list.
Hey, Bruce, if I could jump in there, would it be safe to say, though, that some of those that transferred it over did it because they knew where they were dying and they wanted to avoid probate? It still might be something that the heir might want to sell, right?
Well, so a lot of times I'll go in and I'll look and I'll see that they sold it to an investor before they passed away, or they sold it on the MLS or something like that. It's still showing on Property Plus under their name. And I've got
Bruce, we're getting an echo on you. Is that just on Bruce? I think it is. Yep.
Yeah, I hear it too.
Okay.
How about now?
No, I still hear it.
So if we still hear it, as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to hang up and dial back in. So
it's gone now. It's good now. It's good now. Yeah.
Okay. occasionally it will have been transferred outside of the family. Other times it will have been transferred within the family. So I think ultimately the thing that you want to do, if you're getting Property Plus, do it for the cost savings on your mail. Scrub out, from a mail perspective, scrub out those that clearly don't have property or never did. And then the rest of them, go ahead and call anyway. Just realize that on those ones that it looks like maybe they've already transferred, just realize that there's a chance that you might be calling a few people that did recently sell that property, and it's just still showing in Property Plus under their name.
So, So, Bruce, would you say that the primary benefit of Property Plus is information about who owns and doesn't own property and the cost savings in marketing?
Mm-hmm. It's twofold. It really lets you focus in heavily on who you're going to prospect to. If you get a lead and it comes over and it shows that they own 17 properties, well, you're probably going to want to double or triple the amount of time that you put in on the average lead. You're going to want to double or triple it focusing on that person. Okay, so it gives you a lot of focus and clarity on who you need to double down on. And if somebody owned one property, you're still going to put them through an entire campaign. You might not take that extra time. You might not drive by their house. You might not do kind of those extra things that you want to do on those leads that have recently had a bunch of properties or really high value pieces of property.
Well, Tim, you had something to add, right?
Yeah, Joyce, if you had another question, I'll go ahead and ask it, and then I'm going to say what I was going to say, but go ahead, Joyce.
I'm kind of gathering that the main benefit is the additional information that helps me in talking to the prospective lead.
You're absolutely correct, because if you call them, and the more knowledge that you have about what they're dealing with, and if you already know that there is property in it, you don't have to dig around in the conversation necessarily. You kind of already know, or at least you have the assumption that the data supports that there is at least a property that is available in that probate, and something's going to happen with it. If there's more than one, certainly that helps you in your targeting. But if you're getting involved in that initial conversation, you already know in the back of your mind there's already property. You can lead with what we teach you, which is leading with value, leading with how can I help you, what can I do, knowing full well that there's probably a payoff in the back of this because there is a piece of property there. And if you get into the conversation with them and, for example, they start talking about the fact that, yes, we have a house at 123 Elm Street, you can certainly say to them, well, now, in looking at my research, it looks like, Uncle Fred also owned a property out in Arizona. Is that part of the estate? Well, they're going to be incredibly impressed that you did your research, and it just makes you a stronger person to deal with. And it's amazing the people that we find that have more data that's out there. And let me talk for a second. That's why I want to jump in here, where this comes from. So if you look at the page on our website under Marketing Tools that refers to Property Plus, the reason that we sort of rebranded it is that we're giving you the property information, but we're also giving you a bunch of information about kind of where it came from and all of that. And I'm hearing the echo now as well on mine. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, I think it's a conference line issue today, Tim. I guess there's not much we can do with it. That happens sometimes.
I'll just keep talking.
Yeah.
But
yep,
it is a combination of public data and big data, and that's what we say on here, is that we get the data from Property Plus from multiple things that we do with the information that we provide. And it is a combination of data that is available from what would be referred to as big data, as well as public information. So some of it's coming from remote MLSs and data that we've gleaned out of that, and that is becoming more difficult to get, as you may be well aware. NAR has made some changes literally recently in what data is going to be available. And I'm not going to get into that yet because I'm just now beginning to dig into that. But we also pull from other public data information sources, which could be tax data or anything else. And we're just trying to give you as much information as we can about what's available. Are there going to be false positives? Absolutely. If your decedent's name is John Smith and he happened to pass away in a nursing home, and that's the only data that we have, and you live in Los Angeles County, we're going to find a whole lot of false data because we won't really know who that John Smith was, and the last known address is a nursing home. So that data potentially would be rather unreliable. If his last name is, Schlabotnik and it's spelled with, a lot of consonants in it, pretty likely anything we find is going to be a correct listing for him, whether it's in Poughkeepsie or, Palo Alto. So it's a matter of sharpening your axe. We're just trying to give you the best information that we can. And indeed, Joyce, it is to help you spend your marketing dollars in the best possible area to spend them on, focused on the people that you have the best chance of making money with. Okay?
Good. One quick question. I think Bruce tells us that most of the transactions are made on between the 7th and the 12th touch. So does that mean that I only go back to last June?
Sorry, Joyce, I don't mean to chuckle. If the average is between the 7th and the 12th touch, that's an average. You're going to grab people that respond and want to do business with you on touch number 2. You're going to have people that respond and want to do business with you on touch number 20. And, of course, touches could be a combination of letters and calls. But, you really want to you want to stretch that out. Time, keeping your time in mind. So let's say you're maxed out on your prospecting approach at the end of 6 months. You might want to lay low a little bit on the people that you have not communicated with. So let's say you've called them 10 times, you've sent them 7 pieces of mail, and you get to the end of 6 months. If you don't have any more money or time to be able to put into those particular leads that you have not established communication with, then you might want to let them sit for 3 or 4 months and then try again a couple of times. Or you might want to let them sit for 6 months and then try them again a few times. But you can certainly pull people after that 7 or 12 touches.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, many, many thanks, everybody.
Great questions. Thank you for participating. We have good attendance this week. We have 2 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 3065. You're up next.
Hi, this is Trish Kirby. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Loud and clear.
Perfect. So I have a couple questions. I have not ever subscribed. I took a class with Frank Patrick last April, which I just discovered he's been billing me for every month, which is kind of a disappointment, but that's aside. What is the average cost for the monthly lead service in Lee County, Florida?
Yeah. There's not an average. We have specific numbers, and without digging into the system, every county is different. Every set of pricing is different, and we will have somebody reach out to you and give you the information that you need. What was your first name again?
Trish.
Trish, can I have someone call you at the 3065 number right after the call?
You can. The other question I had, which kind of goes with the cost, but I could figure that out. Do most people, are they using this as their sole source of business once they get the probate up and running, or are they using this as one pillar of their business?
It's a great question. I've heard you answer that before. Go ahead, Bruce.
Jim, did you want to?
I just
who said who's? Okay,
we got it, Jim.
Yeah,
it's a mix. It's a mix of some people, as they do this and get better at it and become more focused on it and become known as the probate person, the go-to person in their county, they find that it fills up their need, fills up their business, and it also depends on how they're approaching the business. If they are a listing agent and that's what they do, then they're going to get a certain number of them out all the time as they develop. If you were on the call for the whole time, I think you were. We talked about working with attorneys, and if you develop those attorney relationships where you're getting the referrals that aren't even coming from our leads as well, then, you're the go-to person for that, and you may just build your business around it. We certainly have people that are doing that. Most people are doing it as an adjunct to start with, and as it grows, it's kind of a natural progression that's based on revenue. Bruce, I'm sorry, bud. I didn't mean to step on you. Go ahead.
No, that's fine, and that's pretty much my answer. I would. I don't want you to. I don't want you to necessarily do what most people do. So Chuck and I talk to almost all of our subscribers every month or two, and I would say from that experience that 60% of our subscribers only do probate. Some of them, as the coach, some of them I'm fine with that, but the majority of them I'll encourage to make this just one of your pillars. Because you never know when things adjust and change. And I've even noticed, depending on the county or the area, I've noticed some adjustments with the way that probate works. For example, we used to teach a 3-month prospecting approach. And 3 months worked. The majority of anyone else, and there's not that many other places or people that teach probate. Those that do, and you mentioned one of them a little bit ago, a lot of them are still teaching a 3-month approach to building your probate business. That does not work in most markets anymore. So it needs to be 6 months. So that's one of the reasons why I encourage people to have another pillar or two. That way, if there is an evolution in the way that probate works and you have to make your campaign last a little bit longer, you still have another piece of business that you're standing on. Now, if you or anyone on the call is doing just fine with probate alone, keep doing it that way. But I like people to have a couple of different lead sources.
Sure. Now, I also listened to your description just a couple of minutes ago in regard to the Property Plus. Is that something that you would be able to find from your local property appraiser's office rather than buying the Property Plus as well once you get the leads?
Not all. You wouldn't be able, unfortunately, to get all of the data, and your challenge in getting it. You may be able to get local information, but remember that in Property Plus, you find everything that the decedent had, and typically from an appraiser standpoint, you're only going to find anything that's local. You reach outside of your local market with this, and as Jim said earlier, if you find someone not in South Florida, but they also own property in Baltimore and upstate New York, you have the ability to take that same data, working with the family to help reach out and find a referral realtor in those markets and get referral commissions off of that as well. So the data that you're going to get locally, you're going to scurry around on the tax office, the appraiser, that sort of stuff to get it. And your time is typically more valuable than doing that. And you're not going to get all the data that we provide as well, because we're providing mortgage information and, all of the property information that you're normally going to find in the MLS. So we're trying to give you everything that you need. So it's a lot more data than you're typically going to get on your own.
Okay. That totally makes sense. Just hadn't thought about it from that angle.
Right. And I have one more thing to add, and I always try to be really transparent. And I will say that my answer to tell you, and the same thing that Bruce said, is a little bit self-serving from our standpoint, because we're on the verge of introducing additional opportunities for marketing, and we don't intend to sell something to cannibalize our existing business. We're going to try to give you additional things to market that we add from a system standpoint, that we provide the same level of support from a systematic approach that we do for probate in other disciplines in real estate. So as we add additional lead types and sources, we're going to be adding those with the same add-on services that allow you to put it on autopilot and simply talk to motivated buyers and sellers. So that's why it's a little...
When you say other types of services, what are you talking about? Because, I buy expired data and that kind of stuff from others. Is that what you're referencing?
So if we were to furnish, for example, if we furnished expired, we would also furnish you with the marketing materials and the collateral to go with that, and offer you the opportunity to have that fully automated in the same way that we do it with probate. And we'd wrap all of our collateral material around it.
So it's more of like a turnkey program.
Absolutely. Everything that we do gives you the opportunity. You can do it yourself, or you can have us do it for you. And obviously, we're in business to do it for you. Our most successful people basically don't do any of their own work. We do it for them. They spend their time talking to motivated buyers and sellers, and we do everything from getting the mail out, getting your website up. We have a referral partner from an ISA standpoint to make the initial phone calls and set appointments, and we're here to do it all for you. That's our objective, is to be the marketing side of your business, letting you focus on talking to motivated buyers and sellers.
Oh, well, I'm definitely very interested in talking to you then. I wish I had talked to you sooner, because I didn't realize you guys did that much of it. Now, the person I mentioned before, I have not been thrilled with the billing and the follow. They've done no follow-up, and they're hitting my account every month. I would not need them anymore, right?
Well, I don't know what you're buying from them, so I can't answer that, but I can tell you that everything that we feel like.
I'm not buying anything from them. I signed up for a webinar last year and didn't realize, and I don't know how, I never agreed to a recurring fee. I get a recurring fee from him, but no value. I get no emails, no calls, no nothing.
I don't know what, again, I won't speak to that. I know Frank, and Frank's a great guy, and we actually do a bunch of work with Frank, so I know that he's not out to mess over people at all. That's never his intent.
Sure, and I don't want to say anything bad about him, because I don't know what he does. I just know that I'm not getting anything from it. My question would be, I was able to do stuff with you without even having to do anything with him, right?
That's correct. And all I would say about that is that if you're not getting anything for something you're paying for on a monthly basis, then I wouldn't be paying for it.
Oh, no, I just fired off an email this morning when I was going over all my annual expenses, and I didn't realize, my fault for not paying as much attention to the credit card statement. But when I was tallying up my annual fees, I went, what the hell is this? So I sent off an email to get that moved. But that was my question, because I thought, well, I've already sent off to have that canceled or whatever the heck is going on there, so I wouldn't need to have that to continue.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
we can do whatever you need to do, and our objective is to be your marketing company. And if you look around on our website today, go to alltheleads.com, you'll get a good handle on what we're doing, and we'll definitely have someone reach out to you after this call and bring you up to date on it and get you started.
Bouncing around while I was listening to everybody, and I was impressed with the different things you had there. So I'm definitely interested in talking to somebody.
Okay.
Well, I have a feeling about 2 minutes after this call is over, somebody will reach out to you. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Happy New Year.
All right. Same to you. Thank you. We have one last person in the queue, and this will probably wrap it up for this week. Our final caller this week is
Good morning.
It's good phone number week. It's the one. Your phone number ends in a lot of zeros. The other one was twos.
This is my office number.
So, yes, sir. What can we do for you?
DC area. How you doing? Happy New
Year.
Doing
great. How about you?
Good. I was calling. I'm getting so many leads in. I'm wondering if I should hire an ISA to make calls to follow up so we don't lose any potential business. What are your thoughts on that?
Bruce? We never occurred to us, right, Bruce?
No.
Go ahead, Bruce.
So ultimately, here's the thing with an ISA. People have different motivations for hiring an ISA, and I never want to tell anyone that they need to go hire an ISA to fully replace your skill and your ability to convert business. So if you're flat out of time, hire an ISA. If you are really bad on the phone, hire an ISA. If you're good on the phone, and you're just looking for some supplemental calls, you're looking to get through more calls faster and more consistently, hire an ISA. But I don't really want you to do that with the idea that you're going to replace your prospecting, unless you just are really bad at prospecting. If you're really bad at prospecting, come to Probate Foundations and I'll teach you how to be better at prospecting. If you're just out of time, then an ISA is obviously kind of a no-brainer. If you have no time and you don't want to lose those leads, get an ISA. So it depends kind of on what your needs are. If you're doing a great bang-up job on the phone already and you're just trying to be lazy, don't be lazy and keep calling. So I don't know.
Do we offer a program where we have ISAs that are trained on making probate calls?
It's third party, so it's not run directly through all the leads, but it is affiliated as a third party with all the leads. And what you would do is just get with your account representative, and they'll give you a link. They'll put you on the schedule to have a conversation about what that program would look like. And yes, there are good ISAs available.
Okay, I see here it says ISA call schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have somebody call you right after this call and walk you through that and get you pointed in the right direction.
Let me give you the best number to call, because this is the number that I'm on. It's my office number, and it's a general number. It's
okay. As long as you're not concerned about everybody, there's the ton of people. Everybody else on the call, cover your ears and go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Thank you, everyone.
No. Go ahead, sir. That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. 202-236-2164. Michael Page.
Thank you, Michael. I think our all of our account reps are going to be very busy after this call, but you will be you'll be right in the queue within 30 minutes or so. Someone will get back to you. Thank you.
Okay.
And
appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. We did have one last person jump in the queue late, and we've got a few minutes left. So the new final call of the week is going to be phone number ending in 9796. You're up last.
Hi, this is Kathy. I think it's going to be a quick question.
Sure.
I wanted to find out what your thoughts are on ordering Probate Plus for leads where all of the numbers are on the do not call list. My broker doesn't want us doing calls to do not call. Is there any benefit that I'm not aware of to getting the Probate Plus for those leads if I'm not going to be able to actually talk on the phone?
Absolutely. I don't know if have you been on the call for the whole call or not?
Yeah, most of it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point here is that if you're not going to call them, you have to reach out to them, right? And having the opportunity to reach out to them and spend marketing dollars to do mail and put high value things in their face if you're not going to call them and you feel like you can't do that, you definitely need to sharpen your marketing axe and focus on the ones that you feel there is property available in to deal with. That's the whole point behind Property Plus, because, the cost of mail is going up. Everything costs money these days. And so if you're going to spend, marketing dollars on mail, you want to focus your marketing on the ones that have the best opportunity to make you money. And that's the whole purpose behind Property Plus.
Okay, so
also, if your broker, I was just going to say, if your broker won't let you make calls and you're going to save by only mailing to the Property Plus people, you could also upgrade the quality in what you're doing. You could send an oversized envelope, you could do a brochure, you could send pieces that are going to have more impact, because that's really the only opportunity you have to make impact. Go ahead, I interrupted you.
No, that's
what
okay.
I meant by
okay. Gotcha.
So what you're saying is the benefit to getting the Probate Plus would be that it would weed them out if there are no property.
Yes,
yeah, correct.
That's the intent.
Okay.
But I also want to point one other thing out. While we also occasionally will say that we'll find things that aren't, in other words, we do get false positives. there are also false negatives. It is an inexact science. So I would not completely discount everything. And if the only way that you can work with your customers is by mail, and that's how you're prospecting, then I would at least suggest that you try at least a postcard program for every lead that's in there, marketing your service side along with the fact that you can work with them on the property if there is any, and make a generic mailing using a postcard, which is a bit less expensive, and then focus your high-value mailing on the ones that Property Plus pulls out to give you the information on.
Okay.
And we do all of that for you. That's kind of the point that I'm making, is that we do postcard mailings, we do regular mailing, we do high-value mailing, we do lumpy mail, which is the fact that you put something in the envelope that makes it, there's something in there. I need to see what they put in this envelope. We do multiple sizes, colors. We do oversized postcards. We do everything you can think of to put stuff out for our customers. That we're a full service house, and we do all of it internally. We're a commercial printer, so there's nothing that we don't do to put mail out for you, and we do it as well or better than anybody in the country.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you. And I'll tell you what, guys, you came to play in the new year. This was a great call. It took every bit of the hour up. We had great attendance, great participation. I want to close as I always do. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, particularly thank the half a dozen people that actively participated. And we had some great thoughts, some great ideas. Take one idea you heard on this call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share the results with the group. Have a great week, everybody. We will talk to you the same time next Thursday. Take care.